Tonight, I'm going to give you the 5 grooming secrets that move a man from invisible to magnetic. Not products, not gimmicks, principles. The kind of things the magnetic 1% of older men do instinctively and the other 99% never figured out. Stay with me to the end because the 5th one is the secret almost every older man gets completely backward. Let's begin. Secret 1. The hair is not the problem. The edges are. Here's the first thing you have to understand, and it goes against everything most older men believe. Women are not turned off by gray hair. They are not turned off by thinning hair. They are not even turned off by no hair at all. What turns them off is something far more specific and far more fixable: the edges. Let me explain what I mean by the edges. It's the hairline at the back of your neck that has crept down into a soft, fuzzy no man's land because it's been 5 weeks since a trim. It's the ragged outline around the ears. It's the eyebrows that have started doing whatever they want, sending wild hairs in directions no one asked for. It's the patch you missed shaving the uneven sideburn. The stray hairs in places stray hairs should not be. A woman's eye does not consciously evaluate the volume of your hair. It evaluates the precision of its boundaries. Sharp, intentional edges signal a man who is in control of his own presentation. Soft, neglected edges signal a man who has stopped paying attention to himself. And a man who has stopped paying attention to himself reads, fairly or not, as a man who would stop paying attention to her, too. Here's the practical truth. A bald man with crisp, clean edges looks powerful. A man with a full head of hair and fuzzy, neglected edges looks like he's let himself go. The hair itself is almost irrelevant. The maintenance of its borders is everything. So, the secret is not to fight your hair loss or hide your gray. The secret is to keep the edges of whatever you have sharp at all times. That means a trim every 2 to 3 weeks, not every 2 months. It means addressing the back of the neck, the ears, the eyebrows, the stray hairs on a schedule, not when you happen to notice. The men in the magnetic 1% are not in the barber's chair more often because they have more hair. They're there more often because they understand that the difference between invisible and magnetic is measured in millimeters at the edges. Secret 2. A groomed beard is a different animal than a beard. Now, let's talk about the beard because this is where older men make a mistake so common it's almost universal. A beard is one of the most powerful tools an older man has. Done right, it sharpens a soft jaw, adds structure to the face, frames the mouth, and gives a man a kind of weathered authority that no younger man can replicate. The distinguished older man with the well-kept beard is one of the most consistently attractive archetypes there is. But here's the trap. Most older men are not wearing a groomed beard. They're wearing an unmanaged one. And those are 2 completely different animals that produce 2 completely opposite results. An unmanaged beard grows in whatever direction it wants. It has no defined cheek line, so it creeps up toward the eyes in a wild, untended fuzz. It has no defined neckline, so it blurs down the throat with no boundary. It's a different length in every region. It has dry, brittle, flyaway hairs because nothing has ever been done to soften them. This beard does not say wise and weathered. It says, I have given up. A groomed beard is the same beard with 3 things done to it. First, a defined cheek line kept clean, so the beard has a crisp upper boundary instead of fading vaguely up the face. Second, a proper neckline set roughly 2 fingers above the Adam's apple, so the beard has a clean lower edge instead of dissolving down the neck. Third, conditioning. A small amount of oil worked through so the hair is soft, controlled, and has a healthy sheen instead of looking dry and wiry. That's it. The beard doesn't have to be short. It doesn't have to be a particular style. It just has to have intentional boundaries and conditioned texture. The exact same amount of facial hair with those three things done transforms a man from looking neglected to looking deliberate. And women read deliberate as confident, and confident as attractive, every single time. If you have a beard and you've never defined the lines or conditioned the hair, you are not seeing what that beard could actually do for you. You're seeing about 40% of its power. Secret 3. The skin tells the truth. The face tries to hide. Here is a secret that almost no man thinks about, and almost every woman notices instantly. The skin. A woman's eye is extraordinarily sensitive to skin because she has spent her entire life paying attention to her own. She reads texture, tone, and condition without any conscious effort. And when she looks at an older man, his skin is telling her a story he doesn't even know he's broadcasting. Tired, dull, flaky, neglected skin tells her this man is depleted. It says, low energy, poor sleep, low self-investment. A man who is running on empty. Clear, hydrated, well-kept skin tells her the opposite. It says, this man has vitality. He takes care of his engine. There's life still running strong under the surface. And vitality, my friend, is one of the most attractive things an older man can project because it is exactly the thing the world assumes he has lost. Here's the part that's going to surprise you. You do not need an elaborate routine to do this. The magnetic older man is not doing 12 steps with 30 products. He's doing 3 things consistently. He washes his face properly, morning and night, with an actual face wash and not a bar of hand soap that strips and dries everything it touches. He moisturizes every single day because hydrated skin catches light in a way that reads as healthy and alive, while dry skin reads as old and exhausted. And he wears sun protection because nothing ages a man's face faster or harder than years of unprotected sun. And the man who started protecting his skin, even at 60, looks visibly different within months. That's the entire secret. 3 steps, 2 minutes a day. The reason it's so powerful is precisely because almost no older man does it. The bar is on the floor. Simply having skin that looks cared for instead of neglected puts you ahead of nearly every other man your age. And women register that difference the moment they look at you, even if they never consciously think the word skin. Secret 4. Scent is the sense that bypasses her logic. Now we arrive at the most underestimated secret of all, my friend, and it has nothing to do with what a woman sees. It's what she smells. Of all the senses, smell is the one wired most directly to memory and emotion. It does not pass through the logical, evaluating part of the brain the way sight does. It goes straight to the deep, ancient part, the part that forms impressions and attachments before reason ever gets a vote. This means the way an older man smells is influencing a woman's response to him on a level she cannot rationalize, and often cannot even consciously detect. And here's where older men make 2 opposite mistakes, both fatal. The first mistake is smelling like nothing intentional, which usually means smelling like the day, like the car, the office, the meal, the faint staleness of fabric that's been worn too long. This is not neutral. It registers quietly as a man who is not tending to himself. The second mistake is the opposite, and almost worse. Drowning in cologne, the cloud of fragrance that arrives before he does and lingers after he leaves. This doesn't read as sophisticated. It reads as a man trying too hard, and trying too hard is the opposite of magnetic. The secret the magnetic 1% understand is that scent should be discovered, not announced. It should be something a woman only notices when she's close to you. A clean, well-chosen fragrance applied lightly, 1 or 2 points, so that it lives in your personal space rather than fills the room. The goal is that she has to be near you to catch it, and when she does, it registers as a small, private, pleasant surprise rather than a public statement. There's a layer beneath the cologne too, and it matters even more. The foundation of how a man smells is not his fragrance. It's the clean shirt, the fresh skin, the well-kept mouth, the absence of anything stale. Cologne is the finishing note on top of a clean base. Sprayed onto neglect, it just becomes a more complicated version of neglect. Sprayed onto genuine cleanliness, applied with restraint, it becomes the detail she remembers about you, long after she's forgotten what you are wearing. Smell is the sense that bypasses her logic and speaks directly to the part of her that decides whether she wants to be closer to you. Almost no older man takes it seriously. The 1% take it more seriously than anything else. Secret 5. The hands give you away. Here we are at the 5th secret, the one I told you almost every older man gets completely backward, and it's the one nobody anywhere is talking about. The hands. Listen to me carefully, my friend. A woman looks at a man's hands far more than he could ever imagine. She looks at them when he picks up a glass, when he gestures while he talks, when he hands her something, when he reaches across a table. And she is reading them constantly, because hands are one of the most honest things about a man. The face can be arranged, the clothes can be bought, the hands tell the truth. Here's what older men get backward. They believe that as long as the parts people obviously notice, the hair, the clothes, the face are handled, the small things don't matter. So they let the hands go. Ragged nails, hangnails, dry, cracked skin, calluses left unmanaged, and they have no idea that this single area of neglect is quietly undermining everything else they did right. Because the hands are precisely where a woman looks to confirm whether the rest of the presentation is real or just surface. A man can be beautifully dressed, perfectly groomed up top, and then reach out with a hand that tells her he doesn't actually pay attention to himself when he thinks no one is checking. And she is checking. She is always checking. The secret is simple, and it costs almost nothing. Nails kept short and clean and filed smooth. Never ragged, never overgrown, never dirty. The cuticles and hangnails managed. A hand cream used, yes, an actual hand cream, especially for a man who works with his hands or washes them often, because dry, cracked, neglected hands age a man's whole presence by a decade, and a soft, cared-for hand does the opposite. And here is the deeper part. When a man takes care of his hands, something changes in how he uses them. He becomes more deliberate, more confident in how he gestures, how he reaches, how he touches a glass or a door, or, eventually, a person. The care shows up not just in how they look, but in how they move. The hands are where attraction is either confirmed or quietly canceled. They are the detail that proves whether your self-respect is real or performed. The magnetic older man understands that a woman's eye travels there constantly, and that the man whose hands tell the same story as the rest of him is the man she trusts, on some level, beneath words, to be exactly what he appears to be. So there they are, my friend, the 5 grooming secrets. The edges, not the hair. The groomed beard, not the unmanaged one. The skin that signals vitality. The scent that bypasses her logic. And the hands that give you away. But I want to leave you with something larger than any of these, because if you treat this as a checklist of fixes, you'll miss the real point. None of this is about looking younger. Let me say that again, because it's the thing almost every older man gets wrong. This is not about chasing youth. A man who grooms himself to look 20 years younger always fails because the goal itself is a kind of surrender, an admission that he believes his actual age is a problem to be hidden. Women feel that surrender underneath everything he does, and it repels them. This is about something completely different. It's about vitality. It's about signaling through 100 small and honest details that you are still fully alive inside the age you actually are. The sharp edges, the kept beard, the cared-for skin, the discovered scent, the honest hands. None of these make you look young. They make you look like a man who has not given up on himself. And a man who has not given up on himself at any age is one of the rarest and most magnetic things a woman ever encounters, precisely because she has met so few of them. Grooming done right is not vanity, my friend. It's a message. The message is, I am still here. I still pay attention. I still care about how I move through the world. And every woman who crosses your path is reading that message in the edges and the skin and the hands, long before you ever say a word. Send the right message. Start with one secret this week, just one. Then add the next. Build it slowly, the way you've built everything else that mattered. And watch how differently the world begins to look at a man who has decided he is still worth the effort. Because you are, my friend. You always were. The only thing left is to act like it. If this reached you, leave a like. Subscribe for more honest truths about presence, age, and becoming the kind of man who doesn't fade. And tell me in the comments which of these 5 secrets you're going to start with. Until next time, stay sharp at the edges and never stop being a man who still pays attention.